I'm Peggy Bunker, and this is Know It All, where the goal is to pull back the curtain and reveal the truth about what's actually in the products that you buy and where the food you're eating really comes from. And also the things you would never support if you only knew about them. As a former news journalist, I've really seen it all, but I couldn't always say it all until now. Our guests are experts who are single handedly changing the world, and you can too, once you know. Really excited about today's episode of Know It All. I always love when I get to chat with just one-on-one with our producer, Courtney Blomquist, who's amazing. She's also my therapist when I just feel like giving it, chucking it all out the window. She talks me off the ledge. So thank you, Courtney.
No problem. I'm not certified. Yeah. DM me all of your problems. Kidding.
And I do. But we are both moms. We both, I don't know if we're chefs per se. I wouldn't say I'm a chef. I think my husband does most of the cooking. What about, are you a cook?
Good. Yeah, I mean, out of necessity, but I think, I'm decent. I think I'm decent. I wouldn't say I can't follow complicated recipes at all, but I have an understanding of spices and what goes together. Does that make sense?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, no, that's good. That's pretty basic. I'm a good baker. I'm a bad chef, but I can bake a bunch of sweet stuff that's not good for you. But in terms of I can make some basics. But the reason this is super important is because so many of us are really healthy. We are eating a lot of protein. We getting all the junk out of our diets. We're trying not to eat food dye but we're still cooking in the wrong pans, and it's really getting a lot of attention right now. But the reason Teflon's really important right now is because it is long known to leach forever chemicals, or PFAS, PFAS into our food, particularly when it's scratched. So I grew up eating off of Teflon pans. My parents bought Teflon pans. I then bought Teflon pans. The one thing my dad would always lose his mind over is if I took a fork and I was making eggs or something in a Teflon pan. But you don't realize it that scratching that surface is releasing those chemicals. Do you have that around your house, or you did have Teflon pans, but you got rid of them?
Yeah, for sure. I moved in the beginning of the summer. I think that there were still a couple that I wasn't using anymore, but were still in my possession. So I would say the last of it left last summer. And in fact, we can talk about this, but the other day we were looking at this, pan that someone gave us, and it was is this ceramic or is this Teflon? And it's hard to know once you're looking for it, especially if you didn't buy the pan yourself, if somebody gifted it to you, or if, you know what I mean, if it was a hand-me-down or whatever. So I think that I have some questions about that for sure. But I believe I have gotten rid of all my Teflon.
Well, very smart, because Teflon, the crazy thing that people don't know is it was actually created as a military grade coating, literally for weapons of war, for fasteners so that things didn't rust, to coat tanks, like military tanks, to coat fire hoses, that sort of thing. It was a coating developed by DuPont, which is a subject of Dark Waters. And it details how much of this forever chemical has leached into the surrounding areas around the DuPont factory, and how much it's affected people's land around there, and the cancers that have come up, and the animals that just started dying. He's a little Aaron Brockovich-y, a little similar to that. People noticed a lot of cancers creeping up in these clusters, which is always indicative of an environmental carcinogen. And many of the farmers said just their animals would just die, or they'd be born deformed, like some chickens with random legs, or different farm animals with weird deformities. So the areas around this DuPont plant have now come under huge scrutiny, just because so much of it is completely contaminated, and they're called forever chemicals because you just can't get rid of them. I mean, it's a very tough situation.
It looks like it started, this was discovered, from what I can see, in a long time ago, 1938, which it feels to me newer than that, but that's been around for a long time.
It's been around for a long time, and it got moved over into the domestic area of our lives in the 50s. So all the 1950s housewives were sold on this cool thing, nonstick. You can fry an egg and it'll just fly off the pan. It became the hot thing to get and serve your family and cook out of. Problems cropped up when the pans got heated above a certain heat. I think it's above a 400-degree heat. So random, but birds. If you have a bird person, I don't know how many people have cockatoos or parrots or what have you anymore, but it will kill a bird if you get this Teflon flu. Humans can get it too above a certain heat. But that's why they started saying don't heat your pan above a certain heat because it emits this toxic gas. And I've smelled that. I don't know if you've ever smelled it before. You turn the thing on, your stove on, you forget, you go do whatever, and there's like kind of this cloud in your kitchen. That is the high temperature Teflon chemical release into the air. It will kill some of your pets, particularly birds, are really, really sensitive. So if you think I'm nuts, go Google this because there's people who've had lawsuits, who've lost birds, et cetera. So birds apparently are very susceptible to this, but it feels like a flu and it has a name. It's called the Teflon flu. And so
Wow.
we're cooking our food on top of this stuff, which is really shocking.
Yeah, it is really shocking. And I feel like I don't remember Teflon being used all the time, but nonstick. It's like nonstick pans, don't use oil, just use a nonstick pan. That's how you're healthy. That's how you diet. That's how you don't have too much fat and oil in your diet. You know what I mean? It's like it feels like trading out the lesser evil, which is, for something that's way worse.
You're exactly right. It was a thing to get rid of butter. I think it was, trying to get away from butter or using oil when you were cooking because, remember we all went fat free before we knew that it was like the carbs that were making us fat. We all like went completely fat free. So that was part of it. But what they're discovering now is just how completely toxic it is. Apparently, if you don't scratch it, it is less likely to get into your food. But if you are scratching it, and I think anyone who's had a Teflon pan, over time, it does just get scratched. Either if you wash it in the dishwasher or you're cleaning or whatever, it just gets all those scratches. Millions of these forever chemicals get released into your food and into your bloodstream. They actually find that it goes into your bloodstream. So it's one of those things where until you're still cooking in those Teflon pans. I think my brother right now has a drawer full of Teflon pans. When I met my husband 11 years ago, he had drawers full of Teflon pans. I rebought mine every couple of years. I would buy new Teflon pans. So I've completely gotten rid of them. We are not sponsored by these companies, but there's two really good brands now that are kind of taking over the Teflon market. Have you heard of these? So the ceramic pans that you just mentioned.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, they're super cool. They're same thing. They aren't as nonstick. I feel like they're not as nonstick as Teflon, but they're still very much like not like a stainless steel. If you tried to scramble eggs in a stainless steel pan, it's hard.
Yeah,
It
I
they
got all
stick
stainless steel
they
pans.
and so you do have to dump a ton of butter in there to make it not stick, right? Or am
You
I
sure
doing it
do.
wrong? Yeah,
Yeah, you sure do. And have the patience to cook at a low heat, which I don't, at all.
I know. But you know who does it right? Like French people. Like French people and Europeans, they know how to cook in stainless steel pans. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
They just have a different way of cooking than we do. But I do watch them cook or Ina Garten. Ina Garten can do it. She doesn't cook in Teflon. She only does
Mhm.
stainless steel. She's got some tricks. So anyway, the green pan and the caraway pans are the new ceramic hot brands. And we're going to show you the ones that I just ordered. I had one set and then bought a set for my husband for Christmas because we're married now. So we get sexy things like pans for Christmas.
Mhm.
And he loves them. And we ditched all of the Teflon. The other thing that I think people need to know if you're using the caraway or the green pans that have no forever chemicals, no PFAS, it is a ceramic coating. You need to get like a silicone tool. So, getting rid of all those rubber tools or lots of Teflon coated cooking tools, also important to get to ditch those. Like, what are your cooking tools like? Do you use stainless steel? What do you have?
Yeah, everything is well, I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't know exactly what kind of metal it is, but we're trying to stick to metal tools, and no plastics. So you're saying with the ceramic, you should use a silicone tool?
Yeah, so
Is that what
I
you just
just got
said?
rid of
Okay.
I mean, this is how long like, even being in this space and being interested in this kind of thing, it's taken me this long to upgrade my kitchen and get a lot of this toxic crap out of here because a
Mm,
lot of the tools that we buy are black, plastic. A
right.
lot of the black plastic, if you still see them marketed at every store, a lot of the black plastic is, recycled plastic or even recycled electronics, I have read, like melted down electronics can then turn into a recycled black plastic. So for food grade tools that you're using, you really want to go stainless steel or a silicone. And silicone also biodegrades. So anytime you start noticing that the tools that you're using are getting cracks in it, cuts in it, so just replace them because that is food that you're ingesting. It's getting into your body. Sometimes it leaves your body, sometimes it doesn't. So it's just important to keep these things upgraded. So the tools are as important as getting rid of the pans. And you just moved, and I know you threw away a bunch of your pans when you moved from LA to Minnesota.
Yes, I did. I got rid of everything that looked like it wasn't worth the price of putting it in a moving box, to be honest. And yeah, Teflon for sure, because then I can save myself medical bills, it sounds like.
Yeah, down the road. It's
Yeah.
it's just all these things that with the forever chemicals, and of course, I'm not a scientist. I'm not saying I know everything about this, but they do. It's very widely known that they are hormone disruptors. That they are now in autopsies. Medical students and doctors see that there's a lot of microplastics stored in the brain. So these things that we ingest, they're teeny, teeny, tiny that are particulate matter from the food that we eat or the way that we cook really do impact our health in the long run. So just why? Just get rid of it. We don't have the information about how this is taken out of the body or if it ever is. So get rid of the Teflon pans, go to a ceramic coated pan and get rid of any of your utensils that are cracked, broken, or black. It sounds like because it could be a recycled black plastic that could have forever chemicals in it. And we'll cite some sources too to take a look at that here on the show notes because I thought the utensil thing was really interesting. I hadn't thought about that, but that's equally important to ditch.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know about you, but I've sometimes walked away, like you're talking about, from a pan for a second, gotten distracted, and left like a black utensil there where part of it melts and you can smell it in the air. And I'm just like, oh, I know that I just caused so much
Ugh.
damage, a
Yeah, you
cloud
don't
of
want to breathe
damage.
it. Had you ever heard of the
No.
Teflon flu? It actually makes you feel kind of sick. I mean, that's what you're breathing in those chemicals.
Yeah.
And the dark waters is definitely worth watching. These people that have lived around the DuPont factory, it's terrible. It's an awful situation. So I definitely check that out. But first and foremost, just get this stuff out of your kitchen. You don't want to eat it. You don't want to be cooking in it. It's time to ditch the Teflon.
So, question for you then. If somebody, like I said, has like a pan that maybe was gifted to them that wasn't ever in a box that they saw, maybe it was used, whatever, they got it at a garage sale. How do you know that it's a Teflon pan? Like, is it going to say Teflon on the bottom? Is it going to say DuPont on the bottom? Like, how do you
That's a good
actually know?
question. Yeah, that is a good question. I would think just anything that's got that spray black coating on it is, I mean, I think it was everywhere for a while, right?
Yeah,
Weren't all the pans? It was just absolutely everywhere. I bet it probably says DuPont or Teflon on the bottom of it. But also, I wouldn't get a pan from a garage sale. Who knows, what's it,
that's
right?
true. I
Yeah,
mean,
don't,
but people do, especially college students, if anyone is listening to this. But I feel like,
yeah.
so if it's white, does that mean it's ceramic?
I don't know if that's the qualifier. I'm trying to think of what the interior ceramic ones are, the ones we just got. I think they're gray, but I also think you can choose your color. It could be like gray or white, and
Mm.
I feel like it looks different. Teflon's kind of grainy. It's kind of got that like grainy thing, especially when you scratch it. It's got that kind of grainy black thing because it's a spray. I mean, it was never meant to be something for food grade use. It was always like a military metal thing to make things not stick. So it's just sort of shocking to me that it ever, moved over into like a pan situation where we'd eat off of it.
Right. And I'm seeing here, actually, I just looked it up really quick. It should be that, yes, exactly what you're saying. The indicators would be that it's smooth, dark colored, like a matte or glossy black or gray, feels slippery when you touch it, and is over an aluminum base. So like when the handle of your pan looks like it's aluminum, then that would be what you're looking at. And then um also there should be a stamp on the bottom that says that it's used Teflon coating.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so there is yeah, because they're for a while they were proud of it, sort of like Scotch Guard. Scotch Guard's the same thing, like Scotch Guard on carpet. Now they know it's terrible for your health, and it's same thing. So Scotch Guard, Teflon, these are things that were released into mass production in the 50s and 60s, and now we know that they are terribly toxic, and we certainly shouldn't be eating off of them. So definitely two things to scratch. So scour your kitchen, ditch the Teflon, ditch the tools that are made out of black plastic because we don't know where that originated. And what they're discovering now is it's not a good source. In fact, it wasn't made for like kitchen tools. It's literally melted down recycled black plastic. And most electronics are black plastic. So
That is crazy. I did not know that. That's crazy. So you could just be like using someone's old cell phone charger to cook your eggs.
it's just gross to think about. But they do. They melt that stuff down, they repackage it, sell it in blocks, and turn it into things. So yeah, that's why they're saying don't cook with anything that's a black plastic. So things that you should know, especially if you're a chef. One day you and I will maybe have more time to cook. We both have kids, so we're just like trying to survive. I'm the queen of DoorDash these days. I tell you, I've got to. And who knows what they're cooking at when you order from DoorDash. I'm not saying that's any better, but
I feel like most restaurants don't use Teflon. I'm going to just go out on a limb and say that. Correct me if I'm wrong, and come on in and give us some comments and some feedback.
that might
But
be willful ignorance, Courtney. That might be like, I'm just going to assume it comes from a good place, like, but it could, I don't know. We should do
I
an
mean,
expo. We'll go behind the scenes.
I spent some early days working in restaurants and I didn't see any Teflon in the kitchen. So I'm just
Okay, that's
saying.
good. Yeah, usually
Yeah.
the chefs don't like it. They cook on, like I said, the stainless steel. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
I guess it's just a lot of oil, or they know how to
It's a lot
manage
of
the
oil.
heat. I just burn everything in a stainless steel pan. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Gotta embrace the burn, which I feel like also has carcinogens.
I know.
You can't win.
That's a whole other episode. Don't barbecue
Yeah.
your meat. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've covered it. Make sure you check out Dark Waters. It's currently on Netflix, and just some incredible information there. It will definitely change your opinion about this substance, and making sure that you get it out of your kitchen for sure.
Amazing. All right. Well, thanks, Peggy. I learned a lot. I'm going to go inspect my kitchen and make sure that all that stuff is out of there. So
We'll pop some links for Caraway pans, Green Pan. They aren't sponsors. Maybe they will. That'd be cool.
okay,
All right.
great. All
Thanks
right,
for joining
bye.
us. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
If you liked what you heard, please follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you really liked what you heard, please leave us a rating and a review. Know It All is a production of Peggy Bunker Media. Editing, producing, and recording is done by the team at Resonate Recordings. I'm Peggy Bunker, and now you know it all.
Resonate.